So what I did here was a wrong body posture when it comes to polishing, or if you ever come close to this, chances are in weeks time you will have to visit a chiropractor, or if you are a professional, in years time you will have to perform physiotherapy. Posture is important. Stop adding strains to your body. This is a very physical work or physical job or physical hobby. I'll be sharing with you a few tips that I gained throughout my years, and hopefully it will be a less back-breaking one. There's a simple rule of thumb that I keep to myself, and especially if you are starting out, I do not recommend the polisher body and our body to be far apart. Ideally, we want to get closer, and this is also why we tend to advise detailers not to wear anything that might potentially scratch up the car. For example, a belt. Okay, I'm wearing a belt today because I lost weight. Number 2, we also do not recommend polishing beyond the length of our shoulder. For example, like this. So don't be lazy, take a step. We should be polishing within the length of our shoulders, like from A to B this way. Not like that. And this is especially true if we are using a rotary polisher, because once you go beyond your shoulder length, you will find that it's more difficult to control. It is also important that we keep our backs as straight as possible, as hunching or doing this is actually bad, as our mothers or teacher would say. If we are polishing a lower cast on a horizontal panel, sometimes it's difficult to not bend our backs, but instead, I would open up my legs wider. It's a physical and laborious job anyway. Have the strain on my legs rather than my back. As a detailer, I do understand that sometimes we go lower because we want to look at the reflection of the light so that we can actually observe the result from the polishing job. Polishing and then look at the result, whether the soles are removed, whether the defects are removed. But it's a bad habit. I'm saying it's a bad habit because we can always inspect the paint after we perform a small polishing area. At times, you might be polishing a bigger car with a bigger panel, and you might need to reach further deeper to polish the panels. One of the common mistakes that I look at that people tend to do is that they put their weight on the machine in order to balance themselves. So this is risky because, for example, if you are polishing a convex or curved panel, especially if you are using a rotary, you might run off balance and risk scratching the car. So we don't want that to happen. So if I have to reach in deeper, what I would do is number 1, I would stand closer, and for example, if I have to absolutely lean on the car, I will make sure that I am not wearing a belt, or I'll put an extra towel or microfiber towel on it. I will pick an area where the car is more rigid or strengthened so that I don't dent the car. I'll put my weight forward and I'll start polishing. Or I could pick an area, for example, well, this is tire, so it's fine. Open up my legs a bit wider and drop my weight a bit instead of dropping the weight here, and then I'll start polishing. Things will be more challenging if we were to polish the roof of a car on a higher spot, especially if it's an MPV, it's way higher. So ideally, we want to grab a chair that is stable. For example, this is good because number 1, it has strong support, right? Can take my weight. It's not off balance if I put my weight in different areas. Number 2, it has enough space for me to stand at. Whereas this is bad, because number 1, it's flimsy, it does not have the control or the support that we need. Right, might break anytime. And a folding chair is also bad as well. Okay, this is the worst kind because if I try to polish deeper parts of the roof and I put my weight at the front, this is gonna fall on me, right? And I'm gonna injure myself, I'm gonna damage the car. So get something that has wide platform to stand on and with sturdy support. So make sure you get something that's proper. Flimsy stuff like that. Bye. I'm gonna bring my big gun out. Step Revolution 2000. Ta-da! I like this because number 1, it is not just a platform for me to stand, it's a stairs. And of course, I have more space to move about or to spread my leg. Because if you compare it to a chair, some people might tend to get lazy. They want to polish further because they want to save extra time. They go like this and then it's beyond your shoulders. You're gonna lose balance. Whereas this, I can just move around. See? And it's tall enough for an MPV as well. So the main point of having all this, or to customize this, is that it will give us better access to better body posture and also safety when it comes to polishing. Sometimes I do know some friends that they put up the sponge here to avoid scratching the paint. You could do that if you're not confident enough, but this thing itself is really heavy. Right. The height of the stairs is also important. Make sure that it's ideal. You don't want it to be too tall or too short. So, polishing rooftops, one of the difficulties is that you might need to extend. Look at that. So inevitably, you might have to lean. This is a smaller car, but if it's an MPV, it's going to be very difficult to reach further into the middle point. So why you want to lean in is because you don't want to put the weight on the machine, aka the weight will be transferred to the paint or to the panel. Strong, flimsy. Right, you want to transfer some weight onto this particular pillar. This is just to prevent paint from scratching. And then you start polishing. Again, my back is straight as well, so I'm not hunching or I'm not bending. And if you're polishing on a harder to reach area, I would recommend going slower on the polisher and make more passes because safety over speed. I've also seen people stepping into an MPV, one with a sunroof. They open up the sunroof and then they put a mini stool on it, on the interior, they step on it and they start polishing the top part of the car. Very convenient. But I'm a bit unsure if that is a nice thing to do or not. You know, if I imagine if that's my car, I wouldn't want someone to work on that particular area by stepping into my interior. Let me know what you guys think. So moving on to vertical panels, it's a bit different from polishing horizontal panels because most of the time we are required to lower our arms and center of gravity. I'll show you an example. For example, here and here. Now you might be wondering, hey, why don't I just squat? Right, well, if you can withstand that kind of strain, by all means. But if you're a professional, or you don't want, or you are of age like me, I look young but I'm actually very old, a detailing tool is a wonderful tool to add into your arsenal. Why? Because number one, you can sit on it, you can place equipment on it, and then it's ideal to polish these two parts of the car. Well, not so much on this, I'll get to this on later on. And then you can roll around. So it's both a good and a bad thing. Good if we are sitting straight. Now bad if we are sitting like a slouch. Right, this is still bad for your back. So make sure that when you are seated, you sit upright in a good position. One important thing about using the detailing tool is that sometimes we tend to put or distribute our weight at our front heel, right? So even though my feet is in full contact to the ground, but my weight is actually more towards this area. Try to position yourself in such that your feet and your weight are equally distributed. Subtle difference, but huge impact. I think the same rules apply, is that number one, you can get those as one, but for verticals, because you're applying pressure towards the panel, so you can actually move backwards a bit if you want to. Again, make sure you don't slouch or you don't hunch. And then, so moving on to the lower part of the car, this is fine, this has sufficient clearing. Some cars are even actually lower. And then if you're a guy who modify his car to be even lower, well, good luck to you. But if you don't want to invest in a hydraulic jack to jack up the car, and if you're just a homeowner, just remove the chair, sit on the ground. Such a simple thing to do, right? And if you absolutely have to, what you can do is, this is a signature move from my brother Kenneth. I'm just learning it from the best. What he does is, he lies down, put something to support his neck, and then start polishing. But ideally, you want to wear some face masks and protective eyewears because you tend to get more residual flings from polisher, right? So mask up, wear some protective gear, start polishing. I can even sleep on the job! So I do know some detailers that puts on knee pads or a soft padding on the floor so that they can actually get down on their knees, right, and start polishing. It's not for me personally. I do know for some people they swear by it, they are comfortable with it. It's not for me because I tend to get numb on my knees. I say whatever that floats your boat. If you feel comfortable sitting down, get your ass down. If you're more comfortable using your knees, make sure to get a soft padding or a pad that supports your weight. Right, putting direct weight on your kneecap, it's bad.
We just talk about bad posture. Look at this guy. Bad posture.
Alright, so that's all I have for you guys today. Do make sure to check out our videos, especially for people who want to improve their skill, knowledge, and techniques on auto detailing. We have videos such as how to reduce holograms on panels, how to polish concave and convex areas, or even how to handle a machine. So do check it out. If you like the video and you want to see more contents like this, do like and subscribe to our channel. Okay, thanks, bye! This channel is brought to you by